The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure packed together, shaken down and overflowing, will be poured into your lap. For the measure in which you measure will in return be measured out to you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Be merciful as your heavenly Father is merciful. Last year, Pope Francis introduced a year of mercy. And in every cathedral in the world, the main door was open as a symbol of the openness of God to his people. And many people, for example, went to the cathedral here in Miami or went to the shrine of Our Lady of Caridad to walk through that door, to say certain prayers, and to receive a plenary indulgence. A plenary indulgence meaning that all the accoutrements assigned with our sins is removed. In other words, we pay the price here, we don't have to pay the price when we die. That was a year of mercy. Pope Francis talks all the time about mercy. In fact, I think it was last year he said, the Lord never tires of forgiving us. El Señor nunca descansa a perdonarnos. The Lord never tires of forgiveness. So that's the example of mercy. It's a very high standard, a very, very high standard. There is a Chinese proverb I say, to understand another person, you have to walk a mile in their moccasins. In other words, we have to try to enter the life of that other person and understand the life they're living. And that's very difficult to do. I noticed after the tragedy at Parkland last week, there was great questioning as the motivation of this young man, why he did it. Of course, we'll never know. We'll never know what motivates people to do certain things. But on the other hand, we cannot judge him. The Lord says, you must not judge other people. And there's a very good reason for that. I don't know what goes on in your mind. I don't know your problems. I don't know the stress that you're under. I don't know your debilities, your weaknesses. So how can I then dare to judge anybody else? Or in fact, anybody else judge me? It is humanly impossible. And yet, human nature tends to be judgmental all the time without understanding that other person. Compassion is a synonym for mercy. We all know what compassion is. It's made up of two Latin words, com and passio, to suffer with that other person. In other words, to understand something of what they're going through and to be there with them, to comfort them, to encourage them. All of these things that make it easier for people to carry their own cross. We all have crosses. We all have crosses. And therefore, we should understand what other people's cross is like. And that every day, if we can, sometimes it's not possible, but at least there's one thing we all can do. we all can pray for other people. And that's what we've been concentrating on last weekend, praying for those people in Parkland, the pain of losing your child. There is no greater pain than a parent to lose their child. The season of Lent is a season of mercy and compassion. Millions of prodigal sons and daughters will return to the church during this holy season. In fact, on Saturday, I was celebrating the 6:30 Mass after the 4:30 Mass here at St. David. And after Mass, this woman approached me and she says, "Father, I just came back to the church 2 weeks ago. And I am so happy," she said, "to have found St. David Church." That's just one example of a prodigal daughter or son returning to the Lord.